So yeah, the industry the past couple of years, obviously it's been a challenging environment for just every aspect of the industry. As we went through that, strategies were evolving, and I don't think we're not quite there yet. Folks are about to return to the office, and that office space is evolving, right? It's becoming more of a collaboration destination. So, de-densifying all these individual workspaces, and as it changes from like 70% individual workspace, you're going back to 70% collaboration. There's going to be a lot of technology that goes into there. Well, that's great, economically. It's still, there's some real challenges, right? Because as we go back in and more technology is required, we're going to be experiment and fail, right? It's not, pre times we had, a lot of, we had 18 huddle rooms. They all looked identical technology. But we're going to go back. People are wanting digital whiteboards, right? Millennials were digital whiteboards. Some places you want wireless present in room. You want UC in certain spaces. So you're trying out all these different technologies, and you're going to fail, right? We're going to fail where say, that space isn't quite it's not working for us. Okay, we thought UC worked there. Well, guess what? People actually wanted a touchdown space where they could do some wireless share, or they wanted this digital whiteboarding. So we need to be able to, you need to deploy something that, if it doesn't work for you, how you first deployed it and put it in, you should be able to easily change it. So, experimenting and failing, and knowing when something's failing too is real key. So getting metrics and telemetry from those solutions. So as we go back to the office, it's not that huddle rooms as far as the eye can see, and it's not also just cubicle individual workspaces. There's this mix. So think about people have daily stand-ups, and literally you go into a room, to a team room, and you stand there for 15 minutes, you can kind of collaborate, and it might be a whiteboard you want in that space. You might go sit down in more of a coffee shop kind of space. We're seeing a lot of that as well. And maybe you have a digital sign right there that you can take over and use it to present. It's all these different spaces. It's not it's not just rooms. It's, all these different kind of spaces that we'll see. The way I look at it, you have this home office and you have your office space where people are going to go and collaborate. You have to make that commute to get there. It has to be worth it, or you're not going to get people back into the office. And that office space needs to be configured with the employee in mind. I mean, how are you going to attract and retain talent if you have a space that doesn't even compete with the home office? Over a pandemic, people really evolved their home office to be pretty good. People started to get some lights in there, better cameras, microphones. And going back, who's going to say, well, I would rather go back in the office? I remember that commute, and that commute's got to be worth what happens in the office. To attract talent in AV, in the AV industry, we've got to open up our systems more. We think we have, think about the developer experience, and you're trying to attract this talent. It's got to be an open system where I can come in, even go to your website, get some APIs, and develop on your platform. Make it exciting for someone to be able to work with you, even if they're doing it from the outside. Saying, oh, I've developed an app for your AV technology, right? If we can be a little bit more open, you can get this talent that's able to rapid fire be able to, oh, here's an app for here's how I can participate in the industry more than what we have today. Yeah, as I think about my daughters, 12 and 14, and what excites them, and how we bring that to the AV industry to be more inclusive of how they want to work, right? And that even includes, let's be flexible about our work policies. Are they going to want to work in that home office? Are they going to want to come in? Yeah, I mean, it is a real challenge of attracting that talent and that diverse work pool. I'm really excited. So I've been doing this for about 15 years. My first project in AV was a 2x8 video wall, this enormous project, and I failed wildly at it. Just did not do what I wanted it to do. And ever since then, I've been hooked. And I'm still excited about the AV industry. Going back to ISE this year, first show, and since ISE in 2020, completely excited as I walked into that show. I was like, I think the industry, and it's really changing and evolving now. I mean, all of our new technologies, as we've seen AV and IT come together, I mean, the possibilities for that it keeps increasing. Super excited. So next in the industry, I think there's a few things, right, that the user experience from the user has really got to be consistent. People have really, we've got to keep working on that user experience. We still come in, we have consoles on tables, you need instructions to use some of these things. That user experience has got to keep getting better, right, for in the industry. That's something that's really critical that I see time and time again, right, in all these products. Like, you see demos, they're slick, but how do we continue to focus on that end user and make that even better than what we have today? It's been so much better, right? We don't need technicians to start our video calls anymore. That self-service, that still needs to continue. So when we're, after work, we're after the show, we're sitting, we're, maybe having dinner together, some of the things that we're looking at is how do we get, it sounds a little prosaic, but how do we get telemetry? How do we see what people are actually doing in these collaboration spaces? How can we connect in, how do we connect with peripherals? You have hubs, PCs. How do we have an activity tracker? How can we see if the technology is actually being used? Is it really useful? We go deploy these things, and are people getting value out of it, right? How do we really understand how it's being used? When we go to links, so what sensors can we use? What telemetry? It's that we really want that customer value, that those users. How do we get that? So we think about, start talking cloud APIs to talking to all the peripherals, sensors, and we really want to, how do we pull that together? Because at the end of the day, we want our customers and our users to get value out of it and just have it work for them.